Is it possible to buy a house for as little as $5,000 in today's crazy, hectic world? Well, for the average person, the answer is no, but for tax lien investors, the answer could be yes. So stay tuned, as today we're going to walk through the wonderful world of tax lien investing and how you can buy properties sometimes for up to 97% below market value. Now, I know it sounds crazy because especially back in the day, you'd see those infomercials where the lady would be on TV and be like, I bought this house for just 300 bucks. That was wrong. They were misleading you. What we're going to do in this video is actually break down tax lien investing, how it works, very comprehensive with an actual slideshow. We're going to show you proper slideshow style here in this video, but we're going to give you the basics as far as how it works. Now, as far as the exciting thing about tax liens, a tax lien is basically when you pay a homeowner's taxes on their behalf, and when they pay the taxes back, they have to pay you a penalty, which is an interest rate mandated by the government. That can be up to 36%. The cool thing about tax lien investing is it's secured by collateral, which is the house. This system has been around for over 200 years. Most people don't understand how it works. Now, I'm going to give you the big picture, and then we're going to zoom into the slideshow to walk you through the details. And you're like, all right, sure, this guy just said, $5,000 house. How the heck does that work? So, basic principles here is tax liens are safe, secure, and predictable because 95% of the time they redeem. What that means for you getting into this business is for every 20 tax lien certificates you buy, you will end up owning a property. Now, it could range in price of a $5,000 property to a $5 million property. But for this example of a $5,000 house, let's say we go and there's a $100,000 home. The taxes for that year are $1,000. So the way this works is you would buy 20 $1,000 certificates. Over the course of 3 years, you're going to end up getting redeemed on those certificates, making an interest rate. It could be up to 36%. It could be 10%. But the big thing where you get the home run is you end up owning the property. So what ends up happening is you buy the first year tax lien, and then it goes into year 2 and year 3. It doesn't redeem. Then you can file a foreclosure. So what you would do is pay out the taxes for years 2 and 3. So you're now into this for $3,000. And then you get an attorney to foreclose, which will be another $2,000, give or take a little bit. Now, you can foreclose yourself, but I recommend just getting an attorney to do it. It's pretty simple. It wipes out the mortgage. And if you follow that simple principle, you can really get some super cheap properties that can change your life when it comes to real estate investing. With that, we need to go over the basics. So we have a presentation we're going to walk you through here now, step by step. My business partner, Mr. Corey Chason, has put together a wonderful presentation on tax lien investing to walk you through the basics. Good old slideshow coming up for you here so that you can take action and get started in this business. And also anybody who ever wants to get started, there's a free book in the description to help you get going. So that's below, but let's cut over to Corey. He's going to take it away, and off to the races we go. Take it away, Corey.
This is Tax Lien 101. I kind of just swiped this from one of our programs just to go through tax lien. We'll just go through tax liens on this one, and then I'll throw it over to Josh. But yeah, so tax liens, for those of you who don't know, and if you've been around this for a while, actually, I meant to do this before. If those of you who are on, first off, Jay, I see those questions. Great. Can you chuck those in the Q&A box? There's a Q&A box as well. You're in the chat box there. But for those of you who are on, can I get a 1 if you're super brand new to this? And if you have a experience with tax liens and deeds and you're looking for some in-depth stuff, can I get a 7? Yeah, if you're new to tax liens and deeds, give me a 1. If you've got some experience, give me a 7. I'm seeing mostly 1s now, so this is great. So this will be a good start, kind of primer for y'all, as they say in Arkansas. Cam gets it. Cannot copy the Q&A. Yeah, you'd have to retype it in, Jay, but that's okay. We can see it there. We'll just, in the future, just chuck them in the Q&A box. No problem. Okay, tax liens. So tax liens, basically when someone doesn't pay their property taxes, and if they live in a tax lien state, the government basically puts a lien on their property. So they put a debt, you could say, on their property. And basically what that means is that person, if they try to sell that house, any money before it goes to the person, it will have to first be given to the county. It's similar to a mortgage in a sense. I don't want to confuse you too much because it is different, but just think of the way the bank puts a mortgage on your property. If you were to sell that, you would need to pay back that mortgage before you took any profits. It's sort of the same thing from a lien, except the liens have been mandated, I don't know, like the 1800s, I think. So it's been around for a long time. And it's like it's the priority lien. So it actually the tax lien is actually at the top. If you think of it, oh, I wonder if can I draw? Oh, I can draw. Woo! Oh, guys,
Yeah, there
it's
you go.
time. Okay, so if you think of it like a pyramid here, whoop, can you guys see my drawing?
That's pretty.
Yeah, thanks, Cam. Cam's always saying nice things to me. Okay, pyramid. It's not the best pyramid, but we got stuff like this. So the liens are actually at the top. Let's go liens. We got mortgage, M. Oh, and then we have like we can go like city liens, water liens. Oh, that's rough, guys. My apologies, but I really do love drawing on that. Here goes spotlight. Whee! Okay, yeah. So the liens take priority over everything. So it like when you sell the property, the liens have to be paid first, and then mortgage, and then like city liens, water liens, contractor liens, all that stuff. And what's interesting though is that the liens actually end up wiping out the more if it goes to the sale, the liens wipe out the mortgage. But that's another thing for another time. Let me just clear this drawing. Perfect. Yeah. So when someone doesn't, basically, if they don't pay their taxes, the government will put a lien on that property. So some examples of some tax lien states. We got Florida, Illinois, Colorado, New Jersey, Maryland, South Carolina, Kentucky, Iowa. Maybe even actually it's North Carolina. I remember filming this and I think I got it mixed up. I think it's actually North Carolina. Cam, can you do a quick fact check for me on that one?
I'm looking on the vault right
On the
now.
ball, yeah.
North Carolina is a deed state.
Okay, great. So I did get this one right. Great. Okay. So yeah, and then there are hybrid lien states like Florida and Colorado, which are a little bit different, a little more complicated than I think we get into, need to get into. But essentially, when you buy a tax lien, you can then foreclose after a bit of time on it. In Florida and Colorado, you actually can't. You actually have to apply for it to go to a tax deed sale. So the rules are a little bit different. Maybe I'll get Cam or Josh just share the tax lien vault with you guys. You can just see the knowledge vault. We have a really epic knowledge vault that we built that has all the information for most of the states. I think there was one state I found in on the East Coast that we didn't have information for. It was the only one, and I spotlighted it once, and I was like, "And here's all the info," and it was not there.
Hey, building a website is very tedious, and then when you got different rules for 50 different states, it's yeah,
That's right.
things slip through the cracks, but we'll
That's
get that
right.
fixed.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of the basics of tax liens. You don't need to be a tax lien history buff to know how to invest them safely, but it is good to know a bit of what they are. So the biggest now, let's jump to this between tax liens and deeds. Tax lien, you're actually buying the debt on the property, not the property itself. So, like I mentioned, the government puts a lien on the property. What then happens is then you're actually able to buy that debt that the government's put on and earn an interest rate on that. So basically, the government will get their money back, and they can use that for schools, roads, firefighters, police officers, whatever. And then you then like obtain debt on the property, and the owner still has time to pay off that debt. Now, a tax deed is a little different because you're actually buying the property itself. You're buying the deed to the property, and you get ownership right away for the most part. There are some exceptions to that. But there are also extra steps like clearing title and getting title insurance and all that stuff that it's just important to know when you're doing tax deeds. But that's the big difference between the lien. The lien, you're getting the property deed itself. You're just buying the debt on the property with the option down the road to foreclose on it or earn an interest rate if they redeem. With a tax deed, you actually buy the actual property itself. And yeah, so those are the two differences there. Now, how do you make money? How do you get profit? With a tax lien, you earn interest while that property, basically while you own that debt, that lien, every month, interest accrues. And so you get interest on that property, anywhere from 5% up to 36%, depending on where you're at. Tax deeds, it's a little different. You get the property itself, so you can flip it, you can rent it, that sort of thing. You get equity in the property. With a tax lien, you're not actually getting any equity in the property. You're just getting the interest rate with the lien. So now, when we talk about the differences between risks in tax liens and deeds, in tax lien, it is a bit of a lower risk because you're actually not responsible for the property itself. The property still is in the name of the owner, but the return that you get or potentially will get does depend on the owner paying up. If the owner doesn't pay, then you don't get any money unless you end up foreclosing on it at the end of the redemption period.
Hey, it's Dustin here. Before we continue, if you're liking what you're seeing here and maybe you want some one-on-one help, we can help you do that. So at the end of the day, people are like, what's your agenda with this channel? Well, we give away as much information as humanly possible. We have the most information on tax liens and deeds. Over 3,600 videos on this channel. We have Tax Lien School, which is the most comprehensive tax lien training website out there, where tons of information for free. But some folks want extra help. When you look at all the things you've done in your life, like driving or learning to walk, often it takes somebody to be there to take you by the hand and help you take those steps. So if you want some one-on-one hand-holding, we can help you get a deal here within the next 30 days, sometimes up to 90% below market value. So if you like, there's a link below. You can schedule a totally free call with us. We can see if it's a fit to work together, take you by the hand and start getting some of these deals. So that link is below. Back to the show.
So that's that. Tax deed, a bit higher risk because you take the property on and any issues it might have, which is kind of what Dustin was saying earlier. Some people will go willy-nilly. Sorry if your name's Willie or Nilly. That's just an expression, but they'll go willy-nilly on a property and they'll buy it and they don't do any research. Josh was at the Houston auction last month, which we take people on. He was there with all of our students, and there were people just buying properties that they had done all this research on, and they had found mortgages and that sort of thing. And I think, Josh, you went up to someone and asked them if they knew if there was a mortgage, right? And they didn't
Yeah,
realize,
that's right. They didn't know.
which is insane. So spending like whatever it was, $50,000, $60,000 on property, thinking, and it's worth 350,000, let's say, as an example, thinking that you've got a great deal, but there's a $200,000, $250,000 mortgage in it, and that means your profits are zero, immediately zero. Plus, if you need to fix it up and that sort of thing. So, and I hate to say it, but we've had students come to us a month and a half, 2 months, a week too late, where they've already purchased these properties and they just are like, well, how can I make money from this now? It's like, well, you could have made money if you came to us before you bought that property and we would have told you not to buy it. And so all these things we say, and we want to warn you, and not in like a be like fearful way, but just in a wise way of, you need to know what you're doing. You need to know the proper research steps and what the potential risks are and avoiding those risks. Because if you don't do that, you will probably eventually end up buying a property that is just underwater before you even get it. And that's the ultimate thing we want you to avoid. We don't want you to buy properties that are underwater, even if it means you don't buy a property this month, next month, the month after. It's better to not buy a property than to buy one that is underwater or takes all your soul away because you're trying to make money.
Yeah, we had us joined. They bought a property probably about a year before they joined. It was just a empty parcel, but that parcel has a train track, operating train running through the parcel.
Cool.
And so they, kind of to your point, they're like, well, how do we, what's my exit strategy here? You know, not much of an exit strategy. I don't think a lot of people are wanting to buy a parcel of land only that's got train tracks run literally right through the middle of it. So just an example of being cautious of what you buy, and because I would have, there are current students, I would have loved to be able to help them and give them some ideas. And basically their only play was that maybe to sell to the neighbor next door,
Right.
but so just an example of what not to do.
Yep, that's great. And then how do we do that? Well, we do research. Really, you can just look on the parcel map to make sure there's not in that instance, I think it would be pretty clear. Maybe you can put a billboard and like stiff arm the train company, like put it in between the two tracks. That's probably
Yeah.
illegal, so I wouldn't recommend doing that, but who knows? Anyway, what the rules mean for you. So yeah, so just as, and I kind of already mentioned this briefly, but I just want to reiterate, you're not buying the property with tax liens, you're buying the debt, the right to collect the unpaid taxes. You can think of it as though you're lending money to the property owner with the property as collateral. It's kind of similar if you want to think in your brain like you're kind of mortgaging. It's well, I don't want to use that word because it's going to confuse people, but it's like mortgage-ish vibes. But you're basically buying the right to the unpaid taxes, and then and your profit comes from the interest. But a really important thing here, I bolded it and underlined it, is don't actually make any money with tax liens until they redeem. So some people think that the government's just going to pay you every month interest. They do not do that. They sometimes might not even tell you that the property has redeemed when the homeowner pays them the taxes. And so sometimes they do, but sometimes they won't. So you have to stay on top of it and follow up with with the county and make sure that they're paying you out from that. So there are also online platforms that handle this for you as well. Realauction.com being one of them, where a lot of sales are. So redemption period. So this is the other important thing about tax liens, is there is a redemption period involved. So once that's the sale, let's say you buy the taxes, the homeowner does have a specific set amount of time set by the county statutes for how long they have to pay you back before you're able to then foreclose on the property. So Florida, it's 2 years. Arizona, it's 3 years. And in other tax lien states, it just varies. I think some of the lowest it goes is 6 months, but it's usually between 1 to 3 years. So you do have to wait that amount of time. So that's something else you need to be mindful of when you're getting into tax liens, is your money will be sitting for a decent amount of time. The only caveat to that is if you buy over the counter or county held tax liens, you can sometimes get liens that have been sitting for an amount of time. And the second that those tax liens hit the county like bank, if you will, the county held bank, that's when the interest or the redemption period starts. So if you find a tax lien that's the sale happened 2 years ago in Florida, you can actually buy that tax lien and foreclose immediately because the redemption period started way back then. So that's just something to consider as well. If you're looking to move things quickly, tax liens might not be the best route for you. Redemption period, kind of mentioned that already. Low risk steady returns. Yeah, so it's less risky than buying a property outright, but the return depends on the owner paying up or the redemption period reaching completion. So that's cool. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, I can go through these quick. I want to get over to Josh here. Give me 3 minutes here. We'll speed through this. Property redemption. So the property owner can pay the lien off at any time. So this, when they pay off, it does ensure you get paid, but also if they don't pay it, it just means you can wait a bit longer for the returns. And a lot of times with tax liens, the interest is accrues month to month. So if it's 12, 15, 18% a year returns, if they pay off in month two, then you only get whatever that would be, like 2% on 12%. So you wouldn't get the full 12%. So it's an accruing interest, not a penalty. In tax deeds in other states, sometimes there's penalties where the second that sale is over, they have to pay the full percentage plus what you paid. So yeah. So this last here, research. So successful tax lien investing requires thorough research on the property, its value, and local market conditions. It's actually kind of less research intensive than tax deeds, but it's important to know, like Cam was saying, let's say there was a lien on that train track property. You might look at it, and I've talked to a lot of people where they're looking at this piece of land. It's like $500, and you pull it up on the county GIS, which is like the mapping system for the parcel IDs, and like basically Google Maps for the county. And it's a piece of land like on the side of a mountain or in the middle of a desert. And you're like, yeah, okay, that's $500 is a good deal for that, but you're not going to probably be able to sell that. So because no one wants to live in the middle of the desert with nothing else around. So it's just important to know, and that applies for liens and deeds. Just know what you're buying, basically. Yeah, so the foreclosing on the property can be a bit time consuming and complex unless you hire someone out. For liens, foreclosing on the liens, you just have to hire an attorney, and we would budget like probably $2 to $3 grand for that, just on the top, just to get all the notifications sent out, all the title cleared, and all that fun stuff. If you're in a really heavy area, like a heavy populated area, the competition can be a bit steep, especially if it's online with liens, people bidding down interest rates and that sort of thing, but still viable. It's just something that you have to consider when you're doing it, and no immediate returns. And these are sorry, I jumped ahead a little bit, but these are kind of the risks and the challenges of tax liens. It can take a bit of time to get that money back. Like I said, the 1 to 3 years. So you just have to be willing to sit on the money. You can park it. It is parked in a safe investment. And then, if you get your interest return, that's great. If you get the property and you get it at a good price, that's even better. So there's, I think, like 5% are like home runs where the property you'll get the actual property, which like skyrockets your investment. So, and then, you want to make sure you're buying liens on properties that are decent, not, like I said, like pieces of land in the middle of nowhere. Because if you do win it and you do foreclose on it, you want a property that you can sell and make money on. Unless you're looking to buy out like desert land for a bunker or something, or a shooting range or something. So then a lot of good deals out there for that. So
all of off the grid friends
That's
right
right.
now.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, so the exit strategies for liens, you got to wait for the redemption period for them to pay off the lien. You can't really force that. That's kind of, you kind of locked. You earn your initial investment plus interest and penalties. If they don't redeem, then you can foreclose on it, and then you get the property at a fraction of the value, which is crazy. You get crazy deals on that. And then you can, I believe, sell lien at a premium. We don't think we've done that, but it is something you can do. So that's just an option for you. And then you can roll over the cash into some more liens. So
All right, thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed that. Guess what? Now it's time to go buy some tax lien certificates. You can do this online, you can do it at home, you can go in person. It's an amazing opportunity to get started. If you like this stuff, do us a favor, hit the thumbs up, subscribe. From there, if you want some one-on-one help with this stuff, there's a link below. You can schedule a free call and we can help you get a custom game plan in place to get a deal within the next 30 days or less. If you want to take some specific action, we can show you where to go, what places to avoid, and where the best deals are to really make this happen quickly. So that link is below. It's a free call. We can see if it's a fit to work together. You can schedule it there. At the end of the day, appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you soon.